Retirement can be a wonderful chapter of life, filled with freedom and new opportunities. One of the most important things you need to enjoy your retirement is good health. And staying healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally requires intention. I know this. I retired from traditional practice about a year ago. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 10 strategies that I've found to be uber helpful to help you age vibrantly and protect your well-being during this retirement phase. My name is Dr. Diane Thompson. I'm a neurorehabilitation physician and a lifestyle medicine specialist. I also have a passion for helping women over 50, like me, achieve healthy aging and longevity. So here are 10 strategies to help you live your best life in retirement. Strategy number 1 is to make a mindset shift. This is so important, but very few people understand it or even talk about it. When it's time for retirement, you have to let go of your work-centered identity, especially in high-status professions like medicine, law, or leadership. And this can be difficult. This sudden change in your identity can lead to stress, anxiety, and even depression. When I left my leadership role, I struggled a bit with this transition. This identity loss can trigger what psychologists call your role exit, which is linked to psychological distress if it's not addressed. So be proactive by preparing for your new identity. And what this looks like, it could be you want to mentor or be a creator or volunteer. You want to reduce the stress and improve your life satisfaction in retirement. It is often said that when you're retiring, don't think about what you're retiring from, think about what you're retiring to and have a plan for that. So let me know if you're retired, what is your plan? Because it gets boring very quickly. If all you do is wake up each day and putz around and then go back to sleep, after a few weeks, you get tired of that. When I left the hospital, I decided to pivot, and my goal was to help people with disease prevention through writing, speaking, coaching, YouTube, and other forms of content creation. And that has been extremely helpful in allowing me to not worry about my prior identity. Number 2 is to set a daily routine. Sticking to consistent waking up times and having something in the middle of the day and going to sleep can be very important. Again, what some people do when they first retire, they sleep late, they stay up late, they kind of putz around all day. And again, it gets old very fast. And you do see some people, they get bored. You see some people wanting to return to work. Then when you're sleeping late, you're not getting enough sleep, you're feeling fatigued. It really leads to a whole host of problems if you don't have structure, even though you are retired. And this can, again, disrupt your circadian rhythm, disrupt your sleep. You need to be able to get up with the sun, have the sun shining on you. It's going to help your mood. And it also helps to set your day. Your feel-good hormones will be released. Your internal clock is better, so you sleep better later. And having a plan in the middle of the day as to some of the things you would do. Workout has been something I do as a part of my day. Aside from doing my content creation, I do have a workout schedule. And so I have a day that's planned. So have a schedule. Number 3 is to start and maintain an exercise program. The best way for you to preserve your mobility, your balance, and your independence, especially as you get older, is to participate in some kind of exercise program. You want to remain mobile, agile, and you want to reduce your risk of falls. And whether it's walking, that's something I do almost every day. Some people will do swimming, yoga, strength training. Movement keeps your body and your mind sharp. My walking practice has actually helped me to keep lean, and I use those times to clear my mind and reduce stress. I do some yoga practice, and that helps me with mobility and balance. And I do strength training as well because I want to stay strong and I want to maintain my muscles. As we get older, we lose those muscles. So I want to do what I can to prevent that, right? Regular exercise also prevent the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease. That's still our number one killer. Things like diabetes and even dementia, right? Many of us fear that. So we want to lower our risk of chronic diseases by making sure we're exercising. The current recommendation for exercise is at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity. And this might be a brisk walk, for example. And this could be done at 30 minutes a day for 5 days a week. You can instead opt to do vigorous intensity aerobic activity, such as jogging or running. And in that case, at least 75 minutes each week. A third option is a combination of the two things, where you're doing both moderate intensity and vigorous intensity activities on at least 2 days a week. In addition to that, though, you want to add at least 2 days a week of muscle strengthening activities where you work all the major muscle groups. And the other thing you want to add to that is some flexibility and balance workout so that you stay mobile and you prevent your risk of falls. As with anything, if you're going to start an exercise program or any lifestyle changes, talk with your doctor first. Tip number 4 is to stay socially connected. Retirement often comes with a shrinking of your social circle. In addition, study shows that older adults have a more difficult time forming new friendships. It's hard to form new friendships later in life. And if you're an introvert, as I am, that's additional issues. So you really have to be intentional about creating and maintaining those relationships. And this might mean you participate in community groups. My local library, for example, offers different classes such as art. They do different lectures, sewing classes. And when you participate in these, you're able to socialize with people. This might also offer an opportunity for you to interact with other people when you take a course. You meet these people, you're studying and learning together, and you're learning something new, and you're getting intellectually stimulated, and you can form friendships from this. An often overlooked thing, what I call a low-hanging fruit, is your own family network. Shore up those family and friend network. My mom and my 2 sisters and I, we're on a daily chat, and we check in with the chat each day. And sometimes that conversation goes off into a more detailed discussion. And that's great because we keep in touch and we keep that social connection together. Remember, loneliness can lead to chronic diseases like heart disease, like depression, and can lead to early mortality. So, again, we're about making sure we're healthy in retirement, and we want to ensure that social connection remains intact. Number 5 is to avoid unhealthy habits. Retirement gives you freedom of time to socialize. And as I mentioned earlier, having a good social network is very important, but it is also essential to avoid slipping into bad habits like overeating or having excessive alcohol. When I first stepped away from traditional employment, I found myself with so much time on my hands, and I decided I wanted to have lunch at different restaurants on the weekends. But then I realized I was eating out too much. I had no control in what was in my food. And there's a financial aspect to that, right? I was spending more financially. So I had to take a step back and cut back on that. I was also watching a video the other day right here on YouTube, and the couple was talking about retirement. And one of the things they said was they had started drinking a bottle of wine in the evenings with dinner, and then that one bottle became 2 bottles, and they realized that this was a problem and they had to back off. So this is one of the things you have to pay attention to. You now have more time on your hands, but you want to make sure that unhealthy behaviors you don't participate in, because again, our goal is to stay healthy during retirement. And remember that even moderate amount of alcohol can carry certain risks, such as risk of cancer or cognitive decline. And this is particularly important in older adults and especially in women. So enjoy your freedom and the time that comes with retirement, but be careful to not add unhealthy behaviors like too much alcohol or eating out too much, because these can threaten your health and your wellness. And as I found out, your finance. Number 6, and it's in the same vein as the prior one, and it is to better optimize your nutrition. While working long hours and in a very stressful environment, I did not always pay attention to my nutrition, meaning I would grab what I could when I could. And when I got home late nights, I would have a heavy meal, which is never a good idea. And because it was late, I would go to sleep and it would exacerbate my reflux. It would affect my sleep. I would wake up the next day fatigued. It really wasn't a good thing. Now that I have pivoted and I am in retirement from traditional work, I am able to focus on what I'm eating and how I'm eating. And my focus is a plant-rich way of eating, including a lot of vegetables and fruits, legumes, seeds, nuts, right? This is a perfect time for you to explore cooking healthy recipes, right? Remember, again, according to the current science, a plant-predominant approach to eating seems to be very important at reducing the risk of heart disease, of type 2 diabetes, and of certain cancer, while also supporting your gut health. The fiber from eating plant-rich food is great for the gut bacteria. And also when you cook your own food, like I said, you control how much sugar and how much sodium you add to that. And it also helps you to control your finances. Tip number 7 is smart money management. You know, if I did not become a physician, I'm convinced I would be in money management. It's something I enjoy. It's something I do very well. And with retirement, there's a stress that comes with that. You come from a place of where you've always earned money and saved money. And now there's a financial stress because now you have to spend that money. And some people enter retirement with additional stressors because maybe bills weren't completely paid off and now you have things you have to pay off and you don't have income coming in. I know for myself, I made sure my student loans were paid off. I did not have recurrent credit card payments, and I put my money in buckets. And I think that's important. Particularly, you see how the market is going. If you don't have a certain amount of money that's immediately available to you, when there's market volatility, you don't want to be pulling money out of the market to live on. So if these are not things that you've done, you might want to meet with a financial advisor to help you through this and do your due diligence. I've found that there are people out there who wants to help themselves to your money. So just be very careful. Find someone who's reputable, who comes recommended. But make sure that you have your money right during retirement. Otherwise, you will have a whole new set of stress and you're not bringing in money. So that can be an issue for you. If you're enjoying these, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, as this information can be very helpful to someone else. Tip number 8 is to manage your stress proactively. It is often assumed that once you stop working, all your stress will be over. But the truth is, retirement can bring another set of stress. I just mentioned to you financial stress if you didn't prepare well. But also there's that loss of identity that I mentioned before. You can have passing of your peers or family because we're getting older. You're now home with a spouse that you did not spend time with before, and suddenly you realize that there's a problem. It is so vital to recognize and manage your stress in retirement. The science tells us that chronic stress can lead to inflammation, it can weaken your immunity, and you can have cognitive decline. So, acknowledge and identify your source of stress, then try to remove that stressor. In addition, things like mindfulness practices, journaling, one of my favorites, physical activity, and even therapy are going to be tools you might want to look at to help support your emotional well being. Tip number 9 is to keep your brain sharp. Without work, you don't have that mental stimulation or that social interaction that you had before. So now you really have to be very intentional about challenging your brain. So try learning new things, learn a new language, to play a new instrument, take an online course, find a new hobby. Lifelong learning is going to build up your cognitive reserve, which will delay and reduce any severity of dementia symptoms. Engage in complex cognitive tasks. That also might help your memory and executive function. And you can check out my video on maintaining cognitive reserve and staying sharp after 50, because that's going to give you a lot of information. The final tip for you to ensure that you have a healthy retirement is to find a sense of purpose. Find a passion project. Retirement offers a chance to explore your passions. In my case, I've started a small business. I've expanded on my gardening and my mentoring activities. And I now have time for traveling and for learning new things that I've been needing to learn. Art is something I've always wanted to learn. I am also in the process of starting a community walking group and giving community lectures on health and wellness. These are things that are going to bring me joy. They're going to bring more meaning to my life. So doing something meaningful can boost your purpose and your well-being. And that is especially important because you are no longer in that work environment and you don't have that work identity. So you want to find other ways to get a sense of purpose, because this will lower your mortality rate, reduce your risk of certain diseases, of keep your emotional and physical health in check. So there you have it, 10 strategies to help you ensure your retirement is healthy and happy. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these tips resonates with you? Maybe you have something that you found helpful that I didn't mention here, but it might help someone. So go ahead and share it below. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more on healthy aging and longevity. And thank you so much for watching.